New legal questions about the fate of American journalists who helped break the lid on the NSA spying scandal for publishing the story in a British newspaper. His name is Glenn Greenwald. His conversations with the self-proclaimed leaker, 29-year-old Edward Snowden, were the basis for the detailed article that exposed the agency's vast surveillance program. New York Congressman Peter King reiterated this morning a statement he made on America Live last week that Greenwald should perhaps be prosecuted not only for publishing those leaks, but for knowingly putting American lives at risk. Here's Congressman King on Wednesday.
He has the names of CIA agents and assets around the world, and they're threatening to disclose that. The last time that was done in this country, we saw a CIA station chief murdered in Greece. No right is absolute, and even the press has certain restrictions. I think it should be very targeted, very selective, and certainly a very rare exception. But in this case, where you have someone who's disclosed secrets like this and threatens to release more, then to me, yes, there has to be legal action should be taken against him.
Now, in fairness, Greenwald has tweeted that that's just not true. He has never threatened to expose CIA names. Lise Wheel is a Fox News legal analyst. David Schwartz is a defense attorney and former prosecutor. Good to see you both.
Thank you.
Lise, given President Obama's statement that no journalist should be prosecuted for doing his job, and then the subsequent capitulation by Eric Holder, doing so likely under pressure, it is unlikely that Glenn Greenwald is going to be prosecuted, right?
It's very unlikely. And Attorney General Holder went even further and said, as long as I'm Attorney General, no journalist will be prosecuted for doing their job. That was his direct quote. So he will not be prosecuted. Leakers can be prosecuted under the law, but not the journalist who then divulges the information that's given to the journalist. That's their job.
You know, David, I think you probably agree. And what may be a huge difference here is that Greenwald is not naming names. He's not exposing individuals like Julian Assange did. But instead, he revealed a program that is data collection, not the content of any conversation.
Yeah,
so he shouldn't be prosecuted.
I can't even believe we're even talking about prosecution, and I can't believe Congressman King would even make that type of statement. It is completely out of bounds. There's a First Amendment the last time I checked. There's a freedom of the press, and he did absolutely nothing wrong. In fact, it's no longer secret information once it's leaked to the press.
Right. And by the way, there's no privacy right under the Fourth Amendment, according to the Supreme Court, for telephone records that are given to a third party. The same argument can be made for internet communications because you've got a third-party service.
Right. If we were talking about names of, that would really put people in jeopardy, that's a different thing. But that's not what happened here.
That is the Julian Assange case.
Exactly.
Now, that's different. He is jeopardizing American lives.
Right. So then you've got a whole different network here going on. But that's not what we have here. So when you look on Assange, who is now, where is he? Holed up in some embassy somewhere.
Ecuadorian embassy in London.
Thank you. That's a completely different thing. But we don't have here. And Greenwald has come out and said, I'm not going to give out that information.
Right. Technically speaking, though, there is a law that Greenwald arguably violated. Let's put it up on the screen. Title 18 U.S. Code. It's 793. I mean, a person lawfully in possession of information that the government has classified as secret who turns it over to somebody not lawfully entitled to possess it has committed a crime. That's the source. Now, here's the G part here. A person who conspires to help the source, which would be Greenwald, has committed a crime. So arguably, he could be prosecuted.
Go prove the conspiracy here. I mean, it's completely absurd.
Well, you got two people agreeing to publish something that's classified. That's a conspiracy.
You have one person giving a journalist some information, and who's to say what's classified, what's not classified? Let's say it is classified.
Wouldn't even known about.
How could he possibly know?
They reached an agreement to print all of the, 41 of the PowerPoint slide presentation. That's an agreement. Agreement is a conspiracy.
I would enjoy is the publication of it. So you're technically you're right, Greg. I agree with you, but in a practical sense, when you've got the First Amendment clashing with this 793G, it's not going to go
I don't even think you satisfy the statute.
All right, here's something else. The Washington Post also broke parts of the same NSA story, but they behaved dramatically differently than Glenn Greenwald. They did two things that were different. First of all, they refused to the demands to publish all of the 41 slides, and this was a demand by Ed Snowden. And second of all, They first went to the government to say, hey, wait a minute, we're concerned. We don't want to harm Americans. We don't want to harm our national security. So they went to the government first.
Good that they did that. That was the right thing to do. But we get back to illegalities. It was not illegal what Greenwald did. When I was a prosecutor, I remember several cases where the journalists would come to me and say, I've got a story. I want to run with it.
But the right thing to do, David, is to go to the government first.
Why is it the right thing to do? This is the press.
You don't want to kill Americans.
They're independent. They're independent from the government. Look, this information is not going to kill Americans. Like we said, we didn't state any specific people here. So there's no obligation for a journalist at all to go to the government.
But I don't. You've got to agree that that was probably a smart thing to do. So at least the government can respond and say, "Wait, don't do that. You're jeopardizing people."
They acted conservatively, and
Gotta go.
Glenn Greenwald pushes the envelope.
Lee Sweell, David Schwartz. Good to see you both. Thanks so much.
Good to see you, Greg.